Roker Corner.
Roker Corner.
That's there you go. Okay.
You may call it Pennsylvania Avenue. 1600, but we call it Roker Corner, right?
He's not standing there for nothing.
But it is quite a sight. What an amazing day this has been, watching a new president taking the oath of office, his speech, the luncheon, and now this parade. And as we know, this is more the procession than the parade. Once they get to the White House, they will reemerge in the First Family will reemerge in the viewing stand, and then watch the actual parade go. Before sunset, it'll be over.
Meanwhile, there's all sorts of craziness happening at the actual residence now at the White House, isn't there, Michael? With everybody, like
they're feverishly furniture
right.
and putting up.
Well, they bought some time because they're running behind right now.
Yeah. So they've got a little while, but
do another coat of paint.
Jackie Kennedy said the first couple of days she and John Kennedy were in the White House, they almost suffocated because the smell of paint. And in those days, this was not very good for you.
No lead testing then.
No lead testing. It's like the opposite White House.
And the staff is probably moving into their offices. Seeing the lights are getting turned on, email accounts activated.
Is there any crossing over? I mean, is it possible you walk into your new desk and someone's still packing it up?
I think they've probably got some good protocols in place so that the Obama staff was out before the ceremony. But the staff gets their Blackberries today. Sean Spicer was here.
I love that little
9
description.
hours ago, describing out. So the staff is. When I worked for George W. Bush, I didn't watch the parade. I was in the West Wing working.
And the permanent staff downstairs, the clerk, the West Wing staff, they're permanently there. They are the ones who are actually shouldering the burden of this transition, not the political people who can't find the bathrooms yet. They're wandering around trying to figure it out.
It's for like a month.
For a month.
Yeah.
Right.
And even WhiteHouse.gov now has changed from what it was during the Obama period.
Let's make America great again together.
Yeah. Happens
Movement
instantly.
continues.
And this is a president who obviously adores his penthouse at Trump Tower. Penthouse at Trump Tower in New York, and has enjoyed the parade of visitors being photographed going up the elevator the last several weeks.
I'll be curious to see how often he ends up going back. You know, a lot of presidents come here thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to go home a lot.
President Obama
thought he would, and he went once, and it was right, I believe it was President's Day weekend. It was went once, realized what an ordeal he was causing all his neighbors, and basically never, I don't think, spent another night there. Maybe one other time.
I think not overnight, but I think.
Do you expect him to be a Camp David president, Michael? In terms
no, not at all. I think you've heard Donald Trump's quote on Camp David. It's very nice, but only for about 30 minutes. So my guess is that
he's a city guy.
This is a city guy who is not going to be very happy.
Good news for Mike Pence.
Yes.
Craig Melvin is at Freedom Plaza right now. Has the motorcade reached where you are?
Apparently, because other people tried to come in, but I don't know who was talking to.
Hello, Craig Melvin.
Talk generically. Don't reference one person or another.
And as well, we'll get back to him a bit later, but you see some more of the view. Got some stands there along there. The crowd much thicker as you come down to this end of Pennsylvania.
And one reason why a lot of this looks actually quite nice, this view that we were seeing down Pennsylvania Avenue, is that when back to the Kennedys, when they were coming down Pennsylvania Avenue after John Kennedy was sworn in 1961, along a lot of Pennsylvania Avenue, you saw sleazy establishments and souvenir stores, and it's quite ugly. And both John and Jacqueline Kennedy said this is really not an avenue that's fit for a new president, and they worked very hard to begin the redevelopment that led to what you're seeing here.
The Pennsylvania Avenue Redevelopment Corporation, a government entity, actually took over this, run by Dick Hauser for a while, and it is maybe the most beautiful street in America. I think it might be.
So sometimes government works.
Sometimes it does.
All of downtown DC, the transformation that has happened in the last 25 years, to be honest. First, it was just Pennsylvania Avenue that was fixed, but the whole surrounding area, I mean, it's been transformed when I think about the city I moved to in 1990 and what it looks like today.
That's I believe, the visitor center for the White House, right behind.
All right, so he was walking away from the car, and he turned back to the car. I think he might have been a little iffy about what might happen. So let's go unmute this.
The Honorable Justice Anthony M. Kennedy.
Are we hearing
Certainly the announcer.
the announcer? I assume it's for people sitting in the reviewing stand.
Yeah, I think that's from the reviewing stand we're hearing, yeah.
I believe.
Here's the turn.
Kristen Walker can give us a little better view as they make the turn. She is in the one of the flatbed vehicles right in front of the president's vehicle. Kristen?
Lester, we're just about to pass the Treasury building, and I can tell you that the crowds continue to cheer as we get much closer to the White House. We're almost there. One of the things that struck me as we continue to pass protesters is how many of them are holding signs about Russia in particular. It is clear that this issue continues to
I hate Trump.
The intelligence agencies have determined that Russia tried to meddle in this election. The fact that you have President Trump doing what some would say, making very praiseworthy comments of Vladimir Putin. There have been a number of signs referencing all of that. So this is something clearly that he is going to be dealing with in the first days of his presidency. Clearly going to be answering a lot of tough questions about. The protesters very much a part of this parade route, as are his supporters. And as we get closer to the White House, we're seeing more and more of his supporters, the protesters, fading a little bit more into the background. And you can hear the announcer right now. The crowd's fallen a little bit more silent as they allow the announcer. Yes, the understanding is that once they approach the White House, they will maybe get out one more time and walk those final steps. We'll have to see if they decide to do that. But once he goes through the White House, he will likely walk through the White House and then come out again, walk along the lawn there, and then go to the reviewing stand. And that is where he will watch the rest of the parade and the festivities this afternoon. It is one of the great traditions. 4 years ago, of course, President Obama and the first family did the same thing, and you'll recall there were all of those memorable moments snapped between Malia and Sasha, and now a new family with new kids and grandkids will be witnessing all of that from the reviewing stand. Lester.
All right, we continue to watch this motorcade, this procession, and it'll be followed, as I've said, by the parade. And as we watch this, let's talk about first order of business. We know the president probably on Monday is going to sign some executive orders. He's talked about there will be a lot of signings in his first days. Affordable Care Act, how quickly will we move?
That's going to be, so there's sort of different aspects to things. So healthcare, that's a legislative front. Okay, there might be a symbolic executive order or two, but healthcare is the sort of the immediate congressional challenge, and that's what's going on there. It's on immigration, I think, and a few even some potential trade things. That's where you're going to see the first sort of actionable, I think, items that they make a big deal out of on day one, which for them they have said is Monday.
Right. All right. We want to show you. We showed you earlier some protests that got a bit out of hand, many blocks away from this. But this is a limo that has been set on fire. I think we'd seen the same limo earlier. The windows had been broken out, but police did have to use pepper spray to try to contain the crowd. They were using flash bang grenades. We showed some of that to you live. But this is some tape from a short while ago of fire department responding to a vehicle fire apparently related to some of the protests. It is under control. The early reports we had up to 95 people, maybe more now, have been arrested. There were some injuries, some police officers that may have been received injuries. We'll continue to keep an eye on that situation. We can tell you the protests that we and our correspondents along the way have observed along this route have been vocal at some point, but certainly peaceful. And it has remained so as the president gets closer now to the first family's new home, the White House.
We got some reports here that the complaints about some of the empty bleachers from some of the Trump folks, they believe it's because the luncheon ran late and everything has caused some invited guests not to get there in time.
Yeah,
I think they're mindful of it, and there may be a lot of reasons.
Yeah, and the whole crowd side, as I said, it's not going to be a measure of the success of this presidency.
The turn.
And there is the turn. That's Treasury behind you there. Back on to Pennsylvania.
All right, does he get out one more time? Roker Club.
Yes, that's right.
This is the standard place in modern times that presidents get out to walk.
Right.
So.
Well, it's a little more secure here.
Right. And here we go.
And you're close.
The car is.
And also Al is there.
With Snickers.
Yeah, slow down a little bit, but
Yeah.
and there's Al Roker waiting for his moment. Hello, Al.
Hey guys,
No pressure.
We're trying to will it.
by the way, I'm prepared. We're ready.
God. Who could pass you down?
I have to say, I think you have a good shot with Pence for sure. I think he's got a little chocolate addiction. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the president's motorcade has made the turn onto Pennsylvania Avenue.
I'm reacting.
Stupid.